Welcome back everybody, Young Batman here again. Today I'll be showing you my starter deck modification for the Guardian of Namekian starter deck. This one's been highly anticipated. Everyone's been waiting for some Namekian leaders and we finally got them. So if you want to get started with the game with this Namekian deck, this deck doesn't take any super rares or any promos. Just all you need is two starter decks and a couple of commons and uncommons from some other sets and you'll be good to go. Unlike last time, this time I'll be showing you two ways that you can modify this deck. The first way is blue and green with a Piccolo Jr. leader that aims to control the game with a lot of negates, a lot of battle card destruction, and a little bit of hand control. And the next way is using everyone's favorite dad, Piccolo, and this one's going to be a more aggressive version with green and red that aims to end the game quickly. There's a lot of critical and some double strike in there. So I'm gonna get started on this one first with the Piccolo Jr. leader. Piccolo Jr. His front side is the same as a lot of other leaders. When he attacks a leader, draw a card, and then when you're at 4 or less life, you can switch 2 of your energies to active mode and flip him over. And his backside, when he attacks a leader, draw a card, and once per turn, activate main. You can pay 1 green energy to choose one of your opponent's battle card with an energy cost of 5 or less and KO it. And then he gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So that ability is really good because it allows you to keep your opponent's board clear as well as boost his power to make it harder for your opponent to defend. So now let's get into the deck. Alright, so let's start off with the battle cards here. First we've got Focus Mind Piccolo. This card is a rare from Tournament of Power. He's got Barrier and Blocker. And if you have 4 more energy, then he gains plus 5,000 power during your opponent's turn. I include him in the deck because one, he's a Namekian, and he has got Barrier, which helps your bond strategy, which you need for your boss card, King Piccolo here, and it's blue energy as well, for your other blue extra cards. This is a really good blocker, just helping to keep you alive during the early game as well. Next up is Kind-Hearted Namekian Dende. When you play him, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Namekian to your hand and then shuffle your deck. So all of the battle cards in this deck, except for Tom's Choice, are Namekians. So if you find a battle card with them, you're pretty much going to be adding it to your hand. He's also a Namekian himself, so he helps your bond strategies. Next you have Nail the Namekian Ace. He is a 10,000 power Namekian, 2 drop. When he attacks, if you have 2 or more battle cards in play, he's got bond as well. He gains 5,000 power and you draw a card. This is really good because typically when you attack your opponent with a battle card, they gain a card and you don't gain anything from it. With him, you draw a card, so you're able to maintain the advantage with your opponent. They're gaining a card from their life and you're gaining one from your deck, so it's not going to put you in a bad position. Next up is Namekian Duo, Salno. I think that's how you pronounce his name, I'm not too sure. But he's your deck super combo. Every deck needs 4 super combos. Moving on, next is Power Barrier Piccolo. This one's pretty simple. He's a 2-drop, 15,000 power with Barrier. So your opponent won't really be able to interact with this card outside of attacking it when it's in rest mode. For simplicity's sake, I did include the Power Barrier Piccolo, but if you want to kick it up a bit, there's a Piccolo Jr. that comes in the dash packs. It's also a 2-drop with Barrier, and it has an additional effect as well. And I would include that over this card if possible. Next up is Kami the Watcher. It's a 3-drop Namekian with 10,000 power, and it's got a permanent skill, Bond 2, Namekian. So if you got 2 or more Namekians in play, then the skill is active. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. And when you play this card, draw a card. So if you have 2 Namekians in play, this essentially becomes an energy boosted Majin Buu with 10,000 power, which is pretty cool. I have him in here just so you can swarm the field with Namekians once you have 2 out. So if you have 2 Namekians in play, say you got Dende and a Piccolo, on your 3rd turn you can play like 2 of these just so you can get more Namekians out to make it harder for your opponent to disrupt your bond strategy. You need a lot of Namekians in play for your King Piccolo anyway. That's why I included him. You hardly ever want to pay 3 for him. Next up is Namekian Bond Salno. I'm including this in the deck because it is a way to help you awaken, and it's also the only card in the deck that can KO any battle card. The other cards that KO battle cards in this deck can only hit cards that cost 5 or less, but this one can hit anything. So when you play it, if you have 3 or more Namekians in play, including himself, so you would typically only play this if you have 2 Namekians in play. You draw a card, choose up to 2 cards from your life and add it to your hand. If you chose at least 1 card to add to your hand this way, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So he's pretty multi-purpose in this deck. I only have 2 because he's got a hefty price of having to take a life to KO card. But moving on, ready to strike Piccolo. It's a 3-drop Namekian, of course. He's a blocker, and he's got an auto skill. At the end of your opponent's turn, if they have 6 or more cards in their hand, they have to discard cards until they have 6 cards in their hand. I included this because typically with these leaders that attack your opponent early because they want to draw a card, your opponent's going to have a lot of cards in their hand as well. This one will force them to either remove the Piccolo from the field or have to discard down to 6 cards. Or just, combo a bunch to have 6 cards. Either way, they're either going to have to have an answer to the Piccolo or drop down to 6 cards, and that'll give you a pretty big advantage. Also, after he uses auto effect, he's a blocker. In case, things get rough and you need a blocker. And he's also a Namekian, so for those bond strategies, he's really good. For the last Namekian battle card, you've got King Piccolo, Lord of Terror. He is a 5-drop with double strike, and when you play him, you KO one of your opponent's battle cards. What makes this card interesting is his permanent skill, which is Bond 3 Namekian. So if you've got 3 or more Namekians in play, it's active. You reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So he becomes a 3-drop if you have 3 or more Namekians in play. 3-drop for 25,000 energy. That sounds pretty familiar. Sounds like Super Saiyan Gotenks, and that card is really good. Except this time you don't have to have 5 energy to play it. You just have to have 3 Namekians in play. He also KOs a battle card, so you can get rid of blocker if need be as well. So the point of this is you want to get at least 3 Namekians out, and then start dropping these King Piccolos for 3 energy every turn, if possible, until the game's over. Just because this card has so much value, and it's really good for the starter deck strategy. So I just wanted to include 4, and you get 2 in the starter deck. For the last battle card, I have Time's Choice Supreme Kai of Time. I think it's important to include black cards in your deck just because they give you extra flexibility. What this one does is when it has Overwhelm 3, meaning when you play this card using Overwhelm, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 battle card from it, add it to your hand, and then place the other cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So what this Supreme Kai of Time does is help you find the exact Namekian that you want. So you might want Ready to Strike Piccolo because you want to lower their hand size. You might want Focus Mind Piccolo because you need blue energy or something like that. Or you might want the Namekian Bond, Salano, to go ahead and awaken that turn. Also 15,000 power, so when you attack with it, your opponent's going to have to use a card to stop the damage or take a life. And that costs 0 energy from you, which is really good. Now moving on to the extra cards, you've got a small blue package here. 3 Senzu Bean, 3 Risk Coercion, and 3 Objection. These are really good extra cards, and they've been seeing play since they came out. The Senzu Bean allows you to extend your plays when you play it. You switch 2 of your energy to active mode and give one of your cards plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So it just does too many things. It can keep your leader safe by giving it 5,000 extra power to stave off some aggression from your opponent. You can use it during your turn to extend your plays. Just so many things you can do with Senzu Bean, so I wanted to include a couple in here. Risk Coercion is one of the best negates in the game. For 1 blue energy, you negate the attack and then switch 1 of your energy to active mode. And since the deck has so many negates, I'm running 10. In this deck, you can pay the blue to play the Risk Coercion and then switch 1 of your green energy to active mode. And that way you'll be able to use another negate from your hand. Objection is a really good turn 2 play. If you have Objection in your opening hand, I suggest keeping it. Using Objection would allow you to get to your King Piccolo faster. And being an energy up on your opponent is really good. Typically, you can play Objection turn 2, and then on turn 3, you'll have 4 energy. I would still play a 3 drop, then just so that way you can have 1 energy open in case you needed to negate or play a Senzu Bean or such and such, you know. Lastly, for the green extra cards, full power energy, I think right now is going to be a really good negate. And if you're playing green, you should be playing full power energy because it negates the attack and KOs an opponent's battle card if the energy costs 1 or less. It's going to be a lot of Sand Kaba, a lot of Newfound Power Sun Gohan, and a lot of Intensifying Power Trunks running around. So full power energy kind of puts those cards in a halt because a lot of blue leaders will be abusing them by bouncing them back to their hand and playing them again. Full power energy just straight up KOs them so they can't take advantage of their legendary fleet. So this one is more of a meta call, to be honest. And if you think you can replace this card with something else, by all means, go ahead and replace it. But that's one of the reasons why I have it included in here. And Sacrifice is the last card in the deck. It is a counter for 1 green energy to negate an attack. But if your leader is a Namekian, like Piccolo Jr. is, then instead of paying its energy cost, you can put a card from your life into your hand. So this helps you awaken and it negates an attack. Typically, I use this to protect my battle cards, like Nail, because I want to attack with Nail more than once since he draws me cards. So Sacrifice will allow me to do it. Since a lot of leaders right now draw on the front when they attack a leader, they don't want to attack your battle card with their leader. So if they play a battle card to attack your Nail, I use Sacrifice to stop the attack, even if I don't have any energy left. And it gets me closer to Awakening, and I get to attack my Nail again. So that's this version of the deck. It's a slower deck that you want to, control the game, KO a lot of battle cards, and then win with Piccolo Jr. So now I'm going to go on to the more aggressive version with the Piccolo leader. This leader is front side is the same as Piccolo Jr. Backside though, he has a permanent bond skill. If you have 2 or more Namekians in play, then he gains critical. Easy enough. And when he attacks, you draw a card and choose one of your Namekian battle cards, and it gains plus 5,000 power to the end of the turn. So this lets you put a lot of pressure onto your opponent. No one wants to get hit with critical, and if your leader has critical all the time, then they're going to have something to stop him every turn. So your opponent is going to be losing a card no matter what when you swing with this if it has critical. So now onto the deck. This one is red and green. Red's really good because of how aggressive it is. So let's start off with the red package. 2 Dependable Mom Bulma. She has 1 red energy. Activate main. You can switch her to rest mode, draw a card, and choose one of your battle cards, and it gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This card right now is being slept on. It replaces itself and gives 5,000 power. If you use this more than once, that is a lot of value out of this card. So they're gonna want to have to KO this card, and like I said, if they're using a leader that draws when it attacks a leader, they're not gonna want to attack with their leader, so they're gonna have to commit a battle card to attacking this if they want to get rid of it. So it's kind of a win-win for you. If they attack it, they're not attacking your leader, and if they don't attack it, you get to draw another card off of it, which is extremely good. Next is Intensifying Power Trunks. This one is very similar to Sand Kaba, as when it attacks, you take a life, add it to your hand, and it gains 10,000 power. But instead of gaining double strike, this gains critical. And critical is really nice because no matter what, your opponent will be losing a card. They're either going to have to defend the attack and lose cards from their hand, or lose card from their life. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Intensifying Power Trunks moving forward. Next is Digging Deep Vegeta. He's a 3 drop, 15,000 power, and then he's got an ability when he attacks. You can add 2 cards, up to 2 cards from your life to your hand. If you add at least 1 card, you switch into active mode and he gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. I include this because he takes 1 red energy, just like everything else. All the other red cards in this deck. You only need 1 red energy, so once you get that 1 red down, you're set. So he attacks. You add 2 life to your hand, he switches to active mode and gains 2,000 power. So that's 2 2,000 power swings on a 3 drop. And you're adding 2 life to your hand, which is going to help you awaken. In this deck, you want to awaken quickly because you want to get that critical off. So that's why I included the Digging Deep Vegeta in here. Next is Furthering Destruction Champa. I have 4 of these. When you combo with this card, the attacking battle card gains double strike for the duration of the battle. And 10,000 power because it's a 10,000 power combo. I include 4 of these because a lot of cards in the deck have critical. The Intensifying Power Trunks, Newfound Power Son Gohan, and Namekian Duo Piranha all have critical, as well as your leader. So double strike critical is a really hard thing to deal with. That's just 2 life going to the drop, and there's nothing they can do about it. So, alright, next up, I'm going to get into the green cards. I tried to include as many Namekians as I can, especially cheap ones. That way we can get Piccolo's ability off every turn. So I've got 4 Gifts of Power Guru. He's a 1-drop Namekian. Activate main, give one of your battle cards plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. That's just more aggression for your opponent to have to deal with. 4 Kind-Hearted Namekian Dende, we went over him in the other one. Newfound Power Son Gohan has the exact same skill as Intensifying Power Trunks. It's just green. Nail, same thing as the other deck. It helps you keep up with cards with your opponent. Namekian Duo Piranha. This one was not in the other deck, but it's in this one. It's a 2-drop Namekian, and it's got a skill Activate Main. You can add a Namekian from your hand and place it under him. If you do, draw a card, and he gains plus 10,000 power and critical for the duration of the turn. So this is another critical battle card, and typically, if you just put the card from your hand under it, that's not very good. But he draws the card, so the card replaces itself. He helps you go through your deck, and he is a 20,000 critical beater. So if your opponent's not awakened, 20,000 critical is pretty hard to stop. They're going to have to use like 2 or 3 cards to stop that, which is really good. Or they're just going to have to take it. If your opponent is awakened, then they're going to have to use a 10,000 combo to stop that. So this card, in my opinion, is good throughout all stages of the game, not just early game. Namekian Duo Salino is your super combo. You're going to have 4 of those in your deck. Next, I've got 2 Power Barrier Piccolo. Just like the other deck, I would definitely, absolutely replace this with the Piccolo Jr. from the Dash Pack. Especially since that one is more aggressive, since you want to attack with that one. For the last green battle card, King Piccolo, Lord of Terror. If you happen to have 3 Namekians out, he costs 3, and he's a double striker. Everything in this deck is pretty cheap. 1 or 2 energy is all you need to play cards. So having 3 Namekians out, pretty much Guru and Dende, will cost 3. A 3 costed double striker is really good in this deck. And also he clears a battle card, so if there's a blocker in your way, he can pop that easy. Alright, next up, Dimensional Banisher Fu. He's a black card. Like I said earlier, you want to have black cards in your deck. This will give you some more versatility. He's got Overwhelm 5 for 1 energy. So this 20,000 double striker you can play for 1 energy. And when you play him with Overwhelm, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. He can get rid of anything on the field that doesn't have barrier, and you want that in decks that don't have any removal. And the 20,000 double strike ain't bad either. He can definitely go for game for just 1 energy. Next is Planet M2. This card is very, very good, even in non-machine mutant decks. It's a field card, and it costs 1 red. Activate Battle. If it's your turn, switch it to rest mode, and choose one of your opponent's cards, and it loses 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This is very, very good when you're pressuring the leader with critical. If you get Planet M2 off turn 1, it gets insane value because every single turn that's 5,000 power off of this card. Combine this with Gift of Power Guru, and you can have some really good power disparity, and it's just going to be very hard for your opponent to defend your attacks. Also, Planet M2 can get rid of your opponent's little weenies that they have out. If you attack their leader with your Piccolo on the front side, you can use Planet M2 to get rid of their Gohan and Trunks. That way you don't have to commit a battle card to getting rid of it, and you can just use your battle cards to go at their life. Lastly, I've got 4 Sacrifice. This one's here to protect your battle cards. If they play a battle card and swing at it, you can use Sacrifice for no energy and protect your battle card. Protecting your battle cards is good because of your bond, your King Piccolo. You need 3 Namekians out. And this is one of the best ways to make sure that that happens. So let me know your thoughts on these decks. Do you want to try it out? If you're a new player and you try this out, let me know how this deck works for you. You've got the Aggro Piccolo deck and the controlling Piccolo Jr. deck. So just let me know which one you think is better, which one you want to try, and how it works for you, and any changes you would make with any super rares or promos or anything like that. So everyone that watched this, thank you for watching. Make sure you share this with your new friends if they're trying to get into the game, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.